Got Your Back Pod Stream is powered by Play Alberta. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. And for a limited time only, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code GYB50. That's how Alberta wins.
Okay, sports fans, I'm sure you were looking forward to a little doubleheader action tonight. The Jays and the Oilers. It did not go in your favor. If you're an Oiler fan and a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays on this night, couple of losses. The Oilers, some tough early mistakes and a failed comeback bid. They drop a game to the Seattle Kraken, a team that, as Struddy's going to talk about, playing some pretty good hockey right now. Looking forward to breaking the whole thing down with you. And this is Got Your Back, presented by our title sponsor, Timber House Developments. Dream, design, build, service. It's the commitment to this process that helps their team create some of the finest custom homes in Edmonton. If you're thinking of a garden suite, infill development, or a fully custom home, talk to Timber House. If you can dream it, you know they can build it. With a full team of in-house designers and decades of construction experience, they bring your ideas to life. Check them out at timberhouse.ca. Coming at you from the beautiful Timberhouse studio here tonight as we check in with Struds. Oh, Struds. Things were so good yesterday with that Jays win. Way everybody was feeling. Little comeback for the Oilers that happened a couple of nights ago. And then 24 hours later, and it just kind of all went to heck.
Yeah, that was, the Blue Jays for sure. That was a tough one. You know what, though? Honestly, we give both starting pitchers a lot of credit. They did a really good job. Both Gosman and Yamamoto. Yamamoto just held in there a little bit longer, and the bats weren't able to get going for the Blue Jays. So got the split. I don't know. I was not too upset about that. Heading down to LA, it's going to be tough, but it's supposed to be tough. World Series, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. And they will be the subject of our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll tonight as well. So we're going to shift it up a little bit and go with a little baseball there. Oilers, man, you know, it's a tough run. Lots of games on the road here. It doesn't get a lot easier through November. Like, it's a stretch here, Struds, but they're playing against some teams in the early going here where I still think they've got to be reasonably fresh, and they're not picking up the points they need to pick up against some of these middling teams. And this could come back to bite them in a little bit here if they don't kind of pick up pace and get going. Tonight's an example of that, although the Seattle Kraken, decent, real nice goaltending performance and a team that's playing the right way, as you're going to talk about. Let's get to breaking this thing down, though, shall we? Brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. During every Oiler game day at the Canadian Brew House, enter at any Edmonton and area location for your chance to win Oiler home game tickets. Plus, enjoy $1 off Molson Canadian and Coors Light tankards. Edmonton-born, Canadian-operated. They got 48 locations across Canada. It is the Canadian Brew House. Struds, I'm just going to start with something here. I'm going to drop a hot take on you, and I want to know your thoughts. Chris Knoblauch should have benched Evan Bouchard after that second mistake. Shouldn't have been back on the ice for the rest of the game. I know they needed a goal late to tie it, and I know Bouchard gives you a good chance to get that goal, but at a certain point, you need to make an investment in the next 10 games. This player needs to be disciplined. He needs to be sat down. It's too many of the same mistakes over and over and over again. Big, massive, costly mistakes. Not ready to play early and coughs it up again with his team scrapping to get back into it. Shouldn't have been back on the ice. It's time for the head coach to lean in to sending a message to this player. Shouldn't have been out there, Struds.
I knew you were going to ask this question. I've been giving a lot of thought basically since the second shift of the game tonight. And I'm going to challenge you here. I'm going to go the other way. I understand there's going to be a lot of heat. I'm going to take a lot of heat on the stream from this, about this with Evan Bouchard. But, you know, we've seen him at the top of his game, and this isn't it. But you got to keep playing him. I think you got to keep putting him out there. You made the good point that he's the one who gives you the best chance to get back into it. I believe that both he and Ekholm are both struggling right now. Neither one is really at the top of their game. And if you look at the Oilers D, probably the guy playing the best is Wallman. And he just got back. I think he's 2 or 3 games deep. So it's not like there's a ton of guys that are really pushing to push him out of that time that he's getting on the ice at all. There's no one clear. Now, a message you could send is take him off the power play. But that's a dramatic change to what it does to your power play because it's a lefty for a righty. In Bouchard for, I'm guessing it would be Wallman there. So a couple of reasons I wouldn't do it. A, who else is taking those minutes that really is earning them? And B, let him play through it.
But Struds, like, he's not the only one that's playing poorly, right? Other guys like Ekholm's been struggling. Nurse has had his share of struggles too this year. The analytics on Nurse are just a debacle. So there are a number of players throughout this lineup that are struggling, but Bouchard is consistently making big mistakes of the same sort over and over and over again, and it's hurting his team over and over and over again. So at what point is it not a bad look for the coach to the rest of his guys, right? Early on in the game, a mistake, bad decision at the offensive blue line. We've seen it multiple times this year. Okay, fine. It's early on in the game. Keep rolling him out there. Team's scrapping and clawing to get back in it. He does it again. The same thing. And the same mistakes that have been happening game after game, Struds. He's in the middle of playing him through it. He was playing him through it for the rest of the first and the second. That's exactly what he's been doing, and the player keeps making the mistake. So at a certain point, something has got to change. And I don't think it needs to be long-term. I don't care if it's 10 minutes of a game, whatever it is. At a certain point, don't you need to send a signal that you need to be thinking different moment to moment out there? Like, something's got to change.
Well, they did. In the second period, he switched the pairings up for, 3-4 turns, just to kind of shake,
you think that was
shake
a
it up
message?
a little bit.
Do you think that was a message, or do you think that was just whatever?
That's clearly a message. If things are going well, you're not breaking up your top and second pairing, right? They're not. Or actually would have been your top and third pairing. That's definitely a message, because when the coach walks down and says, "Boosh, you're with Kulak," everyone just kind of turns and, oh, okay, wow, he's not happy, obviously, so he's changing things up. But I think you make the point that I'm trying to make here. There's not a D-man, I think, that's playing at their best right now. Other than maybe Wallman, but we'll just park that because he's barely played. But are you sitting down everybody because they're not playing
Struds,
well?
None of them are making the 5-star mistake over and over and over again.
I hear
that's
you. That's
the reason you do it.
But they're still. But so they're making mistakes. He's making some big mistakes. No one's playing their best. So it's not like this is 5 against 1 here. This is. Emerson's been okay. I guess Kulak's been all right, but I think the top 4 has not been the level that you expect from this group. So you're going to sit him down and say, okay, Darnell, it's okay. Continue on what you're doing, or Ekholm, it's okay what you're doing. Do you also look to sit those guys down at some point? Or
doesn't it have to make sense? Doesn't it have to make, like, every player in that lineup, if Bouchard didn't get on the ice again for the rest of that game, every player in that lineup would know exactly why. It wouldn't suddenly make Darnell Nurse think he's playing fantastic and hasn't made. This is the same mistake over and over again. At a certain point, you have to snap a guy out. At a certain point, you have to show some teeth. At a certain point, you got to send this signal that the same thing over and over, when it comes from a place of lack of attention to detail and lack of intensity, that can't be tolerated. It kicked the feet out from underneath this group. And yes, other guys are struggling. Yes, other guys haven't found their game yet. No one else is doing that over and over and over again.
Well, you could make the point that Ekholm's been fighting the puck for most of the year and having trouble connecting on a lot of his breakout passes. Those are big mistakes as well. Now, they don't show up immediately on the scorecard across like you see with Bouchard. Darnell Nurse looking for stretch passes that aren't there at time, turning it over in different places. So when you get scored on after a mistake, it definitely, you wear it. You put it around. It's nothing to be proud of. It's a cape you have to wear. But they're all like those top 3 guys, and those should be, 3 of the 4 top defensemen for the Oilers. They haven't been at their best all year. So again, I challenge you. You're selecting Bouchard for 1 or 2 plays, and they've been stinkers. I'm not just.
But it's 5 or 6 already this year. It's not 1 or 2 Struds.
but okay. So let's look at some other games where Darnell and Ekholm have been fighting the puck or making plays. So do you highlight him because they're costing goals against? Could be, but just because a goalie didn't make a save or wasn't stopped doesn't mean you just keep going off these other two guys. So it's not one guy, and I think that's what I'm going back to. It's not one guy. This group of six should be one of the best defensive cores in the league. And right now, the way they're transitioning pucks and just managing pucks in general, it's not at the level that is expected from the coaching staff.
So we disagree on what the action should be based on what's happened, right? What's fair? Is it time yet to do this or not? Does he deserve it based on other players? And that's a good, fair conversation. The thing I want to ask you, though, more importantly than what he's earned or what he deserves to have happen, what do you think will work with this player to get him to stop making these monstrous, careless mistakes at the blue? It's the same thing over and over. Take a look. When you see three forwards, don't pinch, right? You need to have a guy that's high that can come back and help you out. And if he's not there, don't pinch. It's happened over and over and over again. So Struds, what is going to get him thinking differently? Is it playing him through it, or is it putting him on that hot seat, making him answer some uncomfortable questions? It was so safe to do that tonight. They're overnight, probably won't even have a morning skate, and they're back on the ice tomorrow night for him to earn it back. It would have been so easy. It's not like they were coming home for 4 days. So what helps him take that step, Struds, if not sitting him down? Because he's been playing him through it.
Better luck. He's getting bad luck right now. You think about the second one, he goes and swings and misses it. In another universe, that puck went right to the net. They scored, and he's the hero for the night, right? Because he has a goal and assist. I understand where you're coming from. And so you're asking me, what should they do to get him out of this funk? He's been making these types of mistakes his entire career. Now,
not at this rate.
No, okay, that's fair. But we've seen him at the top of his game, not making these mistakes. But early in the regular season and over the course of regular season, these things happen. So what have they done in the past to break this chain of, just loose hockey at times, and a bit unlucky, but loose? What have they done that's worked? There's nothing, because here we are still 5, 6, 7, however many years into his career, talking about these choices and decisions he's making. I mean, that initial one, there's no reason to pinch there. On the second one that goes against everybody's, I think, second goal, make a strong, hard play there, right? He's backing up the puck. He's actually backing away from the puck at an angle as he tries to swipe at it. That's a stop on that puck. And then make your play, whatever play you decide it is, make it with your nose over that puck rather than recoiling from that puck like you're allergic to it. And that looks like that to me tells me he's a non-confident player right now. He's not confident in that play or in his play at all. And Bieksa made the comment that scoring a goal helps, and for sure it helps his confidence, but it doesn't just turn it overnight. You got to keep doing the right thing. So I'll throw it back at you, Sugar. Nothing has changed it. Nothing except playoff hockey has changed it for him. And we're about,
I know. And you know what also has never
away.
Happened, Struds? You know what's never happened? How many times have we seen him absolutely get sat down and stapled to the bench? It's not like they've tried it over and over with this player and he just doesn't clue in and pick it. We haven't seen it. This coach hasn't done it. So yeah, Struds, it is the definition of insanity. So try something new, and it was the perfect opportunity. The first one, it is what it is. You let it go. It's early in the game. You need them. The second one, your team is clawing to get back in it, and he goes and makes the same mistake again. That was the perfect opportunity. 10 minutes left in the game. Send the message. You roll him out tomorrow night. It's about investing in Evan Bouchard for the next 15 games, that you need him to snap out of this part of his game. And that was an opportunity to try something different. So you and I had a complete disagreement over this. I love it. Can't wait for Brownie to hop into the show tonight, Struds. It's good stuff. No, we're not blaming Evan Bouchard entirely for the loss tonight. This is a big topic. This is a hot take. So we're leaning into this pretty heavy. Don't go crazy, Bouchard lovers. We're not blaming him for the entire game. That's not happening. Because my goodness, Struds, Stuart Skinner was like, how many times you got to land on your chest after a 2-on-1? Flopping around in there. And I know 2-on-1s are difficult on goaltenders, but it just feels like it's not supposed to look like that.
It is. Okay, this is another. I'll give you something that no one's going to like here. After some of the choices that they had made as far as giving the chances against, like how many good chances against did Seattle have tonight, would you say?
Oh,
3 or 4? Like
yeah,
3.
Let me check natural stat trick while you're making your point here, buddy.
I'll guess it was 3. And guess how many goals they scored off those?
Yeah.
Probably 3.
Yeah.
Like, so the Oilers, they're doing, and so
they have them at 7. Sorry to interrupt. You have 14-7 are the high danger chances at even strength from Sport Logic.
Okay, that's fair. So I was a little bit off. So let's call it. Let's
your
split
point
the difference
remains,
from
though.
what I think. And they 5 or 6. I'm going to go 5 or 6. 7 seems fairly optimistic, but whatever the standard is, they're not giving up a lot of chances, but the one they're giving up are massive opportunities, 2-on-1s with obviously their best scorer with the puck on his stick and Jordan Eberle. He probably could have had a third. Jordan Eberle could have on when he rang it short side and hit rang the bell there on the crossbar and post. So, the Oilers are doing a pretty good job of, limiting the big chances against, but the problems of ones they give up are massively big chance against. The goalie's been sitting there for, well, in the case of the first goal, hadn't had a shot yet. It's a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
You want him getting across. Yeah, you could play that better and push across. I get it. But that just shouldn't happen. That should not happen in that moment. And okay, we got to be prepared for it, but give your goalie a chance.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But at the same time, it's like, just to be, you'd like him to bail you out on something there. And I think, I don't know, we need maybe a goalie tactician on. I don't know what the tactics are supposed to be. I just know what it's supposed to look like. And I feel like a goalie diving chest first from left to right, flopping like that. I just feel like we don't see that. That's like Mike Smith kind of. And I just feel like we don't see that very often. So I didn't love that performance either. Okay. Passionate start to the show tonight. Let's slow things down a little bit. And let's get to our storylines brought to you by Play Alberta. Zuby had a really interesting one, and a reminder. Keep an eye on our Got Your Back socials on game days, because we're going to post a line that we think is interesting, that there's an interesting story behind that line. Take it if you want, take the action if you want, or don't, and then we'll revisit it tonight. So what Zuby was thinking tonight was there was going to be 6 goals. So we had like a parlay, the over on 5.5, which had there been an empty netter, we would have gotten there. It would have gotten there. And then he combined that with 3 shots on net for Evan Bouchard. So that hit tonight as well. And they almost got to 6 goals. So would have been an interesting one there, Struds. But, Bouchard, 8 shot attempts, 3 shots on net, and that goal will definitely help him. But I guess he just got to keep firing away.
He does. I think that what Seattle, obviously, everyone knows what they're trying to do, that when the puck goes back to 2. And he's got to try to keep finding ways to get open. I like the way he maneuvered himself to get open for that power play goal. He kind of skated into the area and got the puck back rather than just getting it at the top, then trying to, step one way or the other to create some passing lanes. Like, I think he's at his best when he's moving into areas and getting pucks into those areas rather than standing still. And obviously it's easier because, think about Leon Draisaitl. How often do you see Leon just standing still on the flank, try to jump by someone and shoot it? He gets it when Connor walks out of the corner and throws it back. So again, moving to an area and getting the puck. So, the goal can't hurt him for sure. He's a guy that needs to score to feel good on the power play. And then, you're hoping that tonight they had chances to score, but let's give credit where it's due. I thought Joey Decord had a pretty good game tonight. That save on Roslovic early, and this was that in the second period. That was a really nice save. Like that, and he made it look easy. I really like that save. And Roslovic's probably like, man, that's one I could have really used to kind of solidify my spot on this group.
So Bouchard hits on the 3 shots, almost got it to 6 goals. That long shot at the empty net that went just off the side of the net, that would have hit it. And a reminder that Play Alberta, wants to remind you that for Alberta to win, this NHL season, you can find odds boosts on every Oiler game with Play Alberta. And for a limited time, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using the code GYB50. That is the promo code GYB50. That was our storyline for the night. Okay, what are we going to do here? We're going to have some player sound coming up in our next segment, Struds. Let's get to our Relentless player and our YouTube poll. Then we'll wrap this segment. We got lots more to talk about breaking down this game coming up next. So let's get to our Relentless player, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services and Edmonton charity. Relentless in creating possibilities for local youth. Mental health drives growth and success. The key to thriving, not just surviving, with 2 in-house counselors offering free therapy their youth have the support they need to navigate their struggles. Visit ucan.ca to donate today. I have a gut feeling I know who you're going to go with. I'm interested to see if you go with the guy I think you're going with. If it's from this
Okay,
team, go ahead.
I'm going with Jordan Eberle. Jordan Eberle, I think.
Good one, yeah.
Give him credit. Like, this guy, he looked dangerous when he was on the ice almost every shift. Now, he only ended up with 3 shots, but he had 5 that are I think it was it missed or block shots? Either way, he looked dangerous tonight. Could have had the hat trick, just missed on the long curling shot at the end of the game. But the first goal was a good one. I really liked that second shot. Like, that was a skilled shot under pressure, and it's just classic Eberle goal. So I thought tonight his pursuit of offense was relentless for a team that obviously missed him last year when he was I think he missed pretty long stretches of the season.
Steve-O, I was blasting through my hot take there. I'm not sure how the stream reacted to the discussion between Struds and I on Bouchard. So if you want to scroll back there and grab a few reactions, probably should have involved some of what people were saying, but I was too busy arguing with Struds. I definitely saw some going in both directions, right? Some people agreeing with me, some people agreeing with him. So if you've got anything solid there, feel free to work it in. D. White, it is time to bench Bouchard. No more PP1 until he starts playing better at 5-on-5. See, I'd almost go the other way, Struds. I think you sit him on the bench 5-on-5, and then if you get a late power play, you throw him out. Because now he's got a chance to earn it back doing what he does, and there's less chance to hurt you. Sit him at even strength. Don't play him at even strength. If there's a late power play, go get it back.
You can't do that. You can't throw him in there. He's going to sit for long stretches. And you're going to put a guy who's frozen
There's
cold.
9 minutes left in the game. There's 9 minutes
I
left
thought
in
you're
the
talking
game.
about. I thought you're talking about every game. You just sit him for a game,
No.
and he only plays power play. No.
Once he made that second mistake, you sit him. Unless you get a power play, then you say, go get it back.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, then you put the other guys that are performing at a high level in there to show him what, he's not doing.
Yeah. Noah Rinsky, Struddy's forgetting to acknowledge that Bouchard gets all the gravy minutes, most with Connor, Leon, and with them together. I mean, again, he's not the only defenseman that's struggling. Like, man, Darnell Nurse has had some tough looks, and a few times in my notes here, he definitely comes up in the notes a few times too. Ekholm is off to a difficult start here. Like, man, for Nurse, Ekholm, and Bouchard all to be off to shaky starts this season, it's not a great look for this team. And they're definitely, there's some mistakes happening that are definitely pretty costly. Lots to talk about up front too, though, and I want to get to that in our next segment. For now, let's get to our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. Get fit now before you get out your shovels and ice chippers. Get fitted while you still have that summer swing going. Trackman Bay's ready. The deals are hot. Go down and check out their Pro Shop style atmosphere located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. It is DeBoer's. All right, let's downshift a little, talk some Jays, Steve-O.
Yeah, okay. So we're just putting the feelers out there to Jays fans. We said, Jays fans, what's your level of optimism heading to LA? The 4 answers we gave are, I'm just pumped about the split. I'm confident we'll take both in LA. I'm worried LA has the edge. Or 50-50. Show me game 3. What do you guys think?
All right.
Yeah, where's your head?
Yeah, I think they just got to get one at least and bring it back to Toronto. Give yourself a chance back in Toronto. We've seen them do that, winning in Toronto again. So there's 3 there. You got to expect, Bieber or Mad Max to have a performance. But Gosman had a performance today, and it wasn't enough, right? But it's the bats. The bats have to be alive, and they couldn't make Yamamoto suffer. Yeah. So can they get to Glasgow to suffer? Maybe.
Well, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in this, but the one thing you know for sure is that if the Jays are winning the World Series this year, it wasn't going to be a sweep. Like this is going to happen, right? This is a hell of a team they're playing, and there's going to be some adversity. They ran into it a little. I would have assumed, Struds, the way everyone was talking about the series heading in, that they'd be happy to have split at this point. They'd happily have taken that, would they not?
Yeah, they were underdogs coming into the series, and I think they caught the attention of the Dodgers in game 1. Well, now the Dodgers show them what they've got. Yamamoto's got another game in there. This is going 6-7, I'm guessing. So you're going to have to, but the second time through, you get to see a player or a pitcher. It makes it easier. So, they've got Mad Max on the mound, and that guy, he's probably going to give you 4, maybe 5 innings. Then you dip into the old wheel well of your relievers and see what happens.
All right. We'll have the results of our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll coming up just before our Ask Us Anything segment a little bit later on. All right, let's take a breath. We'll all compose ourselves. When we come back, takeaways, we're going to dig into a little more of what went on out there tonight. What do you think of 97 tonight? Stats line doesn't look great. And we'll chat about that and break the rest of the game down. Rob Brown will be joining us at some point as well. So lots still ahead here on Got Your Back, presented by Timberhouse Developments.
Riverside Motorsports is your ultimate multi-brand dealer. With a massive lineup of motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, snow bikes, e-bikes, and snowmobiles, all under one roof. With Alberta's best selection, a huge parts and accessories inventory, and a fully certified service department, Riverside has everything you need to ride. Family-owned and serving Edmonton for over 55 years, see what they have to offer in-store just off St. Albert Trail or online at riversidemotorsports.com.
Mainline Water and Sewer specializes in sewer line repair and replacement using advanced trenchless methods for fast, clean results. They provide detailed sewer assessments and scoping to identify problems before they become costly. Serving both residential and commercial properties, no job is too big or too small, and with over 40 years of experience, they've seen it all. Trust Mainline to keep your lines flowing smoothly.
All right, rolling right along. Time now for our takeaways, brought to you by Chandos Construction. Chandos doesn't just hire talent, they invest in talent. 100% employee owned. So when their people grow, the whole company grows. Ready to build something that matters? Apply now at chandos.com/apply. All right, waiting on head coach Chris Knobloch. We'll hear from him, get some of his thoughts on the game tonight. Struds, let's shift our focus a little bit up front. Odd man rushes often get blamed on the defensemen, and often it is their fault, but forwards can play a role in some of this too. What did you see from the forward group? Maybe, I don't know if you want to, I'll sort of leave it to you to start where you want to start talking about them.
Well, the offense, creating offense is important to get shots to the net, and 2/3 of the top line of the Oilers didn't have a shot tonight. No Mangiapane, no McDavid with a shot. Now, I think it was Isaac Howard on that line. I think he had a deuce, I think, if I remember correctly. But either way, sorry, he had one. So the top line had one shot tonight as a line, right? As when they were going. So that's just not enough. And again, I was really impressed with Seattle today. And I know that's not the question you asked, but I think we have to give them some credit and understand what they're trying to do. They were protected in the middle of the ice. I mean, how many times do you see the Oilers forwards unable to get out of the corner, try to go east-west behind the net and then up to the D-men, or just up straight to the D-men. The D-men are trying to plow it from there, and shots got blocked. Even at the end, they do get a shot off and it's blocked. Bouchard shot's blocked. So Seattle had a game plan. Let them have the puck to the outside and then force them to take shots from the point where it's a lower percent chance. And even when they try to zing it through across, sticks were in the way. Like they really were dialed in today, so that affected it. I feel in those moments you have to sometimes just try to take that puck, just make a little move and keep your feet moving and take it out of the corner and drive the net. Just create chaos, and you can do that whether you're quick or big or both. You can make that happen, and we didn't see enough of that. And they had some chances, but I don't think they're how many quality chances. You said the Oilers had 14.
Yeah,
5-on-5
at even strength, Sport Logic had it at 14-7, I believe.
Yeah, all right. That seems pretty high, but I mean, they I guess go through. That's 5 a period. I guess you can live with that, and but I think there's more opportunity for that to happen.
So to your point, the Ike Howard, Connor McDavid, Andrew Mangiapane line at 5-on-5, the shots were 5-1 Seattle. The shot attempt share was 27%. So the flow of play heading in the wrong direction, and those guys just not wanting to put the puck on net. We saw again tonight McDavid at least once, if not twice, in what I would call prime shooting position near the middle of the ice and looking to dish off Strud. So we're seeing a fair amount of this from him this season. And on a night like this, when they're behind, you would think we would see some shots on net and such. And look, far be it from us to criticize how Connor McDavid is trying to generate offense, but it seems clear to me they need goals, and you got to be shooting pucks to get goals. And he just needs more of that shooting mentality. Can't go a night with no shots when you have the puck as much as he does.
And that's fair. That's a fair point. And when you look at a night today, it was going to probably be some mucky goals. You look at the first one, power play. Let's just park that to the side. The second one, that's a D-man to D-man tip in front of the net. Like that's mucky. Mucky is where it is. So, there are opportunities where you maybe just, you're walking through the neutral because he loves to kind of go across the slot, just float one at the net. And I recognize those aren't the highest percentage shots, but let your line mates know, hey, whoever, Manji or whoever it is you're on the ice with, I might waste a couple here at the net looking for a weird bounce or a tip or whatever the case may be, because it was going to be hard to beat Joey Daccord straight on without it being mucky.
The guy that I would have thought about for Relentless player, I think he worked harder than anybody on either team for most of the night. I thought Podkolzin had a really good night. I thought he was just working his ass off, Struds, making stuff happen. And it's not always pretty with him, but I really liked him following up that performance the other night in that big goal. He was a guy that was like leaving it all out there, trying to will his team back into this game as much as he's able to do that. So I would have given him some consideration for that. But that level of desperation and that level of intensity and that level of really badly wanting to win a game, it stood out. Like it really stood out in this group.
What stood out with me for him was on a night when it felt like the puck was bouncing quite a bit, for both teams, and for the Oilers, maybe their passes were off. It felt like he had a lot of control of that puck, and he was really distributing it to his line mates in a good way. Now, not distributing for backdoor tap-ins, but he was delivering it to his, seemed like Leon or whomever, just get him the puck pretty smoothly. And it wasn't a grenade on his stick like it was for a lot of the guys on both teams tonight.
Yeah. Like the effort level that he brought. And I don't know. I'm not sure how many guys he dragged into the fight that way. I thought, what'd you think of the bigger bodies? What did you think of Tomaszek and Philp and some of the guys that should be, Frederick, guys that should be following that lead into that fight?
Well, I thought tonight Frederick had a mindset to try to be physical. And there's a couple knocks he had. And I thought of the last number of games, he was engaged in trying to be physical. Now, there's being physical to prove a point and being physical to get the puck and to get to the net. And when I talk about getting to net, he's a guy that has to get there, drive that net and get there. But again, Seattle did a pretty good job stopping it up. Tomaszek, he almost scored pretty early there. He's definitely in the right places to make it happen. He's just not able to unlock. And well, really no one scored except 2 D-men today.
Yeah.
Podkolzin's the bigger man group. Phil, I don't know if he loves the physicality. I think he had one pretty big hit tonight. I don't know that that's what his his build's all about. Jake Wallman, I thought he was decently physical tonight on the back end. Darnell Nurse seemed to have something going with Marchand
Marchment.
Marchment. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know that physicality was the reason they did or didn't get this done, but
Right.
just kind of pushing the pace and being heavy and making the other team just make it harder for them. And I thought Seattle did a really good job making it hard for the Oilers to get to their net. And the Oilers wasn't like they were giving up a bunch of chances, but just find a way to make it harder by driving the net. Just like it's hard, you make it hard for them to get to your net, you can make it hard by driving to their net. And we saw that the other night. We talked about all the 5 goals they scored against Montreal. Players shooting through the slot, getting to the net. I think of Nuge on the backhand power play. Like, I recognize it's power play, but still the intention of going to the net, it's so key.
Just taking a look here at Sportlogic stats to see if some of this will back up a little bit of what you were saying. So they track a lot of this stuff. Slot shots on net were actually 16-9 Edmonton. Slot driving plays were 37-26 Edmonton. As we said, the high danger chances at 14-7. Scoring chances off the cycle 11-6 Edmonton. And turnover scoring chances 13-8 for the Oilers as well. It felt like it might be another night of them being able to get themselves back into it, because I will say Knobloch in the third period when they were down again kind of stuck to his formations, Struds. Fundamentally, he still deviated here and there, but he did try and roll those 2 lines to try and get that comeback going. So what did you see in the line formations? And I don't know, is there any reason to let this breathe a little bit more, or is it time to shake it up for tomorrow night?
Well, he's been shaking the tree pretty hard through the first number of games through the season. I don't know how much more he can shake it up. Other short of putting forwards as D and D as forwards. I think that's maybe the only thing he hasn't done. The Oilers, they could have won this game tonight for sure. And we outlined earlier some of the times they shot themselves in the foot and gave up easy chances against that led directly to goals against. So if you take even one of those goals out, do the Oilers win this game walking away? Yeah, probably. They probably find a way. Got to give Joey Daccord some love because he did a good job, shutting down some of the opportunities they had. I'm thinking of, Savoy had a chance, Tomasek had a chance, Roslovic had it. Those are all 3 good chances that any one of those could have been goals. They weren't, but any one of them could have been.
Yeah. Okay. Steve-O, how are we doing on the sound there? Has Knobloch showed up yet?
Knobloch he's not showed up, which is interesting. So we have some post from Nurse, and that's it right now.
Okay, you want to just get to that? Can you cue that up? And we'll roll a
Yep.
little bit of Darnell Nurse sound. And as always, our Weiss Johnson sound box is brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Their end-of-season AC sale is on now until the end of October. Get up to 20% off any in-stock air conditioners. Visit wjjingle.com. That is a special just for Got Your Back listeners. That is wjjingle.com.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local.
Let's hear a little Darnell Nurse postgame.
Result and how we kind of ended up at 3-2 in your eyes.
I thought our process was a little better than the other night, but we forced Stu to make some big saves, especially there off the rush, and probably give him a few too many looks that way. So for us, we got to keep plugging away at our game.
What's it going to take to start converting and start kind of capitalizing on a little bit more rhythm at 5-on-5 especially?
Yeah, I mean, there was lots of looks today. Felt like when we got in the ozone, we were creating, and it's just a matter of making that one extra play, bearing down a little bit, and that's we got to keep just nailing away at that. There's no secret formula, no secret solution to it. It's just put our hard work hats on and try pulling home.
Beginning with the game tomorrow, what's it going to take for you guys to start really playing to that capability that we know you guys can?
Yeah, and obviously playing Vancouver, every time we play Vancouver, it's a tough match. Team that comes out and plays hard. So for us, it's that connectedness we talked about, being five players all over the ice. Upping our work ethic and winning our battles, and It's those simple things, those cliche things that allows you to work yourself out of slump.
Was it the transition of the Kraken offense that kind of got to the team here today?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously quick and a lot of skill, and then you give them opportunities to use that speed and skill and play to their strength. It's at some point they're going to convert. So at least the Stu made some huge saves for us and then kept us in the game for throughout it. So kudos to them.
Okay, good stuff there, Steve. Thanks. That's Darnell Nurse in conversation with Tony Brar post-game, and that sound coming to us courtesy of Oilers Plus. All right. Struds, let's take a look around the league at our scoreboard as we wait for Rob Brown to finish up and hop into the show with us. We'll get his takes on things. Our scoreboard's brought to you by the Bridge Sports Therapy. They offer a comprehensive approach that extends beyond temporary pain relief, focuses on developing long-term strength and resilience. They got clinics at Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Lethbridge, and opening soon in St. Albert. Learn more at thebridge.fit. Struds, quite a bit of other action on a Saturday night.
Quite a bit. Only 6 teams in to play tonight, so let's get to some of the higher ones. The Avalanche lose to the Bruins 3-2. Victor Arvidsson, longtime Edmonton Oiler, gets his first goal of the season to help out the Bruins get their 3-2 win. The Lightning needed a win, and they got it. They get it over the Ducks 4-3, so might take a little bit of pressure off a team that's really been struggling so far this year. In overtime, Johnny Tavares beats the Sabres 4-3. Maple Leafs get one back. They're also a team that's still trying to find their way through the early season. A team that the Oilers are going to play coming up on Tuesday. The Mammoth win 6-2 over the Wild. They'll continue their hot streak. Obviously, the Mammoth feeling good about themselves, whereas the Wild aren't quite there. And Logan Cooley has 2 more goals tonight. That guy is on fire. And then a couple things closer at home. The Canadiens beat the Canucks, score 4 straight, I believe, to beat the Canucks at home. So Oilers fly to Vancouver tonight. They'll play them tomorrow. So both teams will be playing their back-to-back. And then finally, the Preds beat the Kings 5-4 in a shootout. So, not good, not bad for the Oilers, I guess, if you're chasing the Kings or they're chasing you.
There you go. Do you see the hit Taylor Hall threw tonight?
Oh, yeah, that was a hard hit. Really hard
smokes. Who was it?
Yeah.
He just unloaded on, was it Rupe Hintz?
Rupe Hintz, yeah. So Rupe left the game. So, pretty significant hit by him. Got a penalty on it.
Yeah. Thumped him. Every once in a while, he'll just unload on a guy, hey?
Well, he skates so well and he's so strong on his feet. When he decides he wants to hit you, you're going to get it. Like he's good hitter, really good hitter. Just he can score goals and get points too.
All right, that's our scoreboard brought to you by the Bridge Sports Therapy and Training. Take a quick break. When we come back, we will take a lap around the National Hockey League, look at some of the other big stories that are going on right now. We got our core adjustment segment. We got Struddy's World and Brownie Points as well. So lots ahead here on the show. This is Got Your Back presented by Timberhouse Developments.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit BelvedereGCC.com today.
Why would you? Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so why put in wood fences? A maintenance-free vinyl fence from DLR is backed by a lifetime warranty and will save you time. Weekends are for playing, not painting. Go vinyl at DLRvinylproducts.ca.
All right, welcome back to the show. Going to throw you a quick curveball, Steve, as we head back into the Weiss Johnson sound box. The head coach, Chris Knobloch, is ready to rock and roll with some post-game sound. So this courtesy, Weiss Johnson.
I better play the jingle one more time. That just felt wrong. Here we go.
Whatever you got to do, buddy.
It just felt wrong. Here's
okay.
Knobloch.
You play that thing anytime you want.
you see tonight's game play out?
There's a lot of things I liked. We had more scoring chances than probably all but one game this year, especially in the third period. I thought we had a lot of pressure. Just some mistakes on giving up the rushes off the chance, and whether that's a poor bad pinch or the forwards not coming back, just out of sync there. And that's where Seattle had pretty much all their chances with off plays like that. So most of it was good, but that part, and it's a very important part, we need to get better at.
Would you consider that a sizable step forward from the last effort we saw on Thursday?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things I liked. I thought our intensity was better. I thought our execution with the puck was better. We created more scoring chances. But line rush for and against, it's such a big part of the game. And if you can't score off the rush, and if you're giving up goals off the rush, it makes a big difference.
Do you feel any sense of frustration when your team is creating that many chances? We know how Thursday went and how the team felt about the effort, but do you feel like players are maybe gripping their sticks too tight? What's the difference between executing and not right now?
Yeah, I think there's some frustration. We expect more out of ourselves and playing better, but after a game like the other night where we put up 6 goals, a lot of guys are feeling good about themselves, and we just need to play the right way. And, for the most part tonight, I thought we did.
All right. There's the head coach, Chris Knobloch, courtesy of Oilers Plus. Okay, Struds, let's take a look at what else is going on around the National Hockey League in our Taking a Lap segment, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports, your multi-brand sports dealer, motorsports dealer serving Edmonton for over 55 years, offering a diverse selection of new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-side, snow bikes, e-bikes, and snowmobiles. They got an extensive inventory. Anything that you want in the toy department, they can get for you. www.riversidemotorsports.com is the website address. All right, Struds, where are we going?
We'll start with the Montreal Canadiens and Patrick Laine. Had an all-right year for them last year with the power play goals he scored. Missed a couple games. Thought it was day-to-day. Got a second opinion. Turns out he's got a pretty significant core injury. They'll keep him out for 3 to 4 months. So the big Finn will be out that long. And I can't believe he's only 27 years old. I feel like he's been in the NHL since Jari Kurri left NHL. Like it's
been around a long time.
It's incredible, man.
I remember covering him in a world championship before he was even in the National Hockey League. And yeah, he's been around a long time, but it also feels like he spent a lot of time not in lineups though too during that time, hey, for a bunch of different reasons. Yeah.
He's you know what, and I mean, I said it the other night, and I still believe in it. I'm not sure if Montreal's even that upset that he's unavailable, right? Like I feel like they want to play with pace, they want to play fast, and that isn't his game. Can score for sure. He's deadly on the power play, but I'm not sure he fits the DNA of what they're trying to do now. I believe he's also on an expiring contract, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. A trade deadline in the summer for a guy who's very talented scorer for sure. Next up, Lukas Reichel was finally traded from Chicago Blackhawks to the Vancouver Canucks. This went through yesterday. But I talked to a couple of people in Chicago and said that recently he played a little bit more tempo to his game. Did play for Vancouver tonight. Be interesting to see what that looks like for him. But a former first rounder gets traded for a fourth rounder. Usually that's not the best sign, but a fresh start might be good for him. And the Canucks have some injuries, so he will get opportunity early. But those injured players, according to Patrick Allvin, aren't going to be out forever. A lot of them are around that 2 to 3 week range. So that's like 10 games that he has to solidify a lineup spot. And I would suggest to Mr. Reichel that you give your best next 10 games of your NHL career, maybe ever, in that time.
17th overall pick. They're hoping that he's one of those second organization guys. We've seen it here and there where a guy will be a reasonably high draft pick, and for whatever reason, on a team that is begging for young players to come in, they get nothing but ice time and opportunity. Young players in the organization wasn't able to make it work. So now he goes to a spot that in a little bit of a different position, Struds, but some opportunity there. But sometimes, I don't know, did you know any second organization guys that really figured it out? Rafi Torres comes to mind for me.
Yeah, Rafi. Well, I think we have one here right now, Podkolzin. right? I think
Yeah.
that's a guy that you could probably. Now, is he ever going to live up to maybe what he was expectations? But to me, he looks like a guy who's going to play 10 years in the NHL, carrying buckets of water around, and maybe you can find some offensive opportunity, right? That's pretty decent. Even, Andrew Cogliano might be another guy, although he was pretty good when he was here,
pretty
but
good as
kind
an
of
Oiler.
changed his makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a bit unfair. He was a good player here, but really kind of developed to the player he was maybe meant to be when he arrived in Anaheim.
Yeah, I think it took leaving the Oiler organization for him to embrace the idea that he was going to be a bottom six forward. I think Andrew Cogliano really considered himself a top six guy most of the time that he was with the Oilers. And when he really dug into the idea that that third line, that's a spot I can make some good money and a good living from and carve out a good career for himself. When he started figuring that out, that took another organization.
And lastly, Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning got his 1,000th point tonight. I was actually surprised he hadn't got it yet. I don't know why. I was just kind of like, what, 1,000 points? I thought it was 1,000 games. It was 1,000 points in 809 games for the Cooch, the man they call the Cooch. Tampa, something's going on down there, man. That team is not, they won tonight. They're pretty far down the chain. Early, I get it. But anyways, 1,000 points for the Cooch. Again, I thought he would have had it already. I don't know. I just kind of assumed he did. I guess not quite there yet.
7 points in 6 games in the early going. So he's quite a bit off pace as well for a guy that's normally floating in and around the top of the league. Quite a bit off pace, 2 goals and 5 assists. Well, actually, DB probably isn't updated. This might be a day old. So sorry, I might be throwing out stats a day old, but he was off pace heading into tonight's game. All right, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by friends at Riverside Motorsports. Okay, let's keep cruising along here, Struds. We were talking a little bit about potential line combinations, what it's going to look like tomorrow night, what Chris Knobloch should do, if anything, to try and get some better results, and all of that adds up to our core adjustments. And that is brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you need a safety program, they will build it. If you need it managed, they can do that. If you're stuck dealing with those online safety registries your clients make you sign up for, they can handle those too. If you own a business, you know what we're talking about. They will do the core audits for you as well. Visit www.hsecor.com for more information. So if you're Chris Knobloch and you got a short plane ride, probably not enough time to look at a ton of video, but you got some decisions to make about what you're going to do with your lines. He liked the way they finished last game, so he pulled those lines through into his top 6 to start the game tonight, Struds. We saw a look with Bouchard and Kulak. I don't know if he considers making that change for a game or if he goes right back to Ekholm and Bouchard together, but I don't know, man. It's been the Knoblender's been out big time, so it's tough to know if it's right to keep it going or if you got to just let it ride for another game here. You just heard him say he said he likes more of what was in their game tonight. What do you think?
Well, I think that's where I'm going to take the lead from. He said he was happy with how much they created, the developments. He mentioned the off the rush chances he gave up to Seattle that kind of hurt them, and I think that was pretty clear. That can be adjusted through some video, maybe some conversations with individual players about what they need to do. But it sounds like the forward lines will be. I mean, we saw a few different combos, but maybe he'll start again with what he started with tonight. As far as the back end, maybe you do mix them up to start something different, just to kind of a little bit of shock value to the boys. So you put Kulak with Bouchard and then Ekholm with Emerson. I'm not sure where things are at with Regula. Not that Emerson was the reason they lost the game, but maybe just a different look in there, or maybe even...
if he's ready, you can't get him in there fast enough just to mix it up a little bit. I'd be throwing Regula in tomorrow the minute he's ready. And again, not that it's Emerson's fault, but that's the obvious swap you make, right?
Yeah. A little bit different look. So, maybe you start with the different pairings. And I think that's a conversation he has to have with Mark Stewart as well. What does Mark want to do? How does he feel about what he's seen from these guys? Are they working through it? If you take away those 2 big issues on Bouchard, how do you feel about his game? Now, obviously those are 2 pretty big issues to remove, but is he moving the puck better? Is he doing things you want to do? Did Darnell Nurse take a step today? Did Ekholm, and do they make those plays a little bit smoother? So that's a conversation you have directly with your D-man coach before you make any choices for tomorrow.
All right. That was our core adjustments brought to you by HSE Core Services. Not a lot of time to make those adjustments. Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks set to go tomorrow night. Another 8 o'clock start. And of course, we will be rocking a post-game podcast then as well. One more break. When we come back, should have Brownie checking in here right away. We'll have Struddy's World. We will have Brownie Points. We'll also have Ask Us Anything. So make sure that you get your questions in on the stream. If you got anything for Brownie, we'll probably keep him around for that segment. Let us know. So fire your questions in. We'll get to those, and we'll wrap up our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll as well. We'll be right back. Stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Timberhouse.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. God, I look good.
Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you by Batty Realty at Royal LePage, AR Team Realty. Buying a home is a big-time decision, and the team at Batty Realty guides clients through the complex process with expertise and care, providing unwavering support. Even after the keys are handed over, their clients say they truly make you feel like the only client they have. Visit Batty Realty, that's B-H-A-T-T-I Realty.com. I think we're going to have Brownie here in just a minute, Strud, so we'll hold you off for just a half a second here. I did want to ask you about Savoy. I just want to get your thought real quick here before we get to Struddy's World on Savoy. Another night where he's got some good looks offensively and he's all over it. It's just not coming. Yeah. The offense isn't coming, Struds. Is he close to breaking through, or is he so far another one of those guys up in that top six that's having trouble producing with those guys?
Not unlike Pod Colton, I thought he had stretches where the puck was on his stick and he was making plays, like keeping the play alive. Whether he was beside, whatever center he was with, he was holding and making plays. And that's kind of like the next step, right? You got to not just be beside them, but play with them and interchange the puck with them. And I like that part of his game. He's there. It feels like it's so close to him scoring. I'm sure he's dying to get one across the line. It's just not there right now. But again, you look at tonight, not one forward scored a goal, right? They had chances. There's no doubt. There's guys had, some pretty good looks. I outlined a few of them earlier. But he's skating and making plays with the puck, and I love seeing that because that is going to have to be part of his game because you got to play and complement those top guys, whether it's Connor or Leon.
Every once in a while, he'll make a play, in the offensive corner too. He'll win a battle against somebody 3 times his size. He'll knock a puck to an area and grab it and bounce it off the boards and spin off. Like, he's very good in those battles when he's quite often the smallest guy in those fights. And it's just that will serve him well. That'll keep, he's keeping some pucks alive in the offensive zone that would otherwise be turnovers and heading back up the other way. So he's got to keep doing those things and keep getting his looks here. And at some point, maybe the dam will break for Savoy. All right, Struddy, let's rock and roll. Struddy's World, buddy. What do you got?
When I played, and even now as I watch teams, you want to make smart plays with the puck and way you manage the puck. And the other team or your team's goalie coach will come in and say, "Hey guys, this is what the goalie's good at. Plus, he can really handle the puck." Well, Joey Decord is very confident and good at moving the puck. And number of times tonight, we saw the Oilers either dump it straight on him when they were trying to change, or trying to take a weak shot. He grabbed it and he just snapped it all the way up the ice, or they do a lazy rim around the back of the net and he'd come out and stop it and again, make a play to his D-man. And I can tell you, it's so frustrating for the people on the ice that are trying to get off the ice and or trying to get in on the forecheck when you just lay an egg like that to them. If you're going to rim it around, the guys are really good handler of the puck for a goalie, you got to hit it so hard you blow it through his stick, or you go cross ice, or you just short side it and dump it in the corner. Keep it away from him so you can't do it. Because you work so hard to get out of your own zone. We get it up to the red line. I'm just going to give it the old men's league 11 o'clock shot around. The goalie stops it. That doesn't work. So there was very little thought tonight, enough thought to just make it easier on yourself and make it harder on them in those areas, Shoggy.
Yeah, I like that, Struds. That's critical when you're playing against a goalie that can handle it. We watched for a couple of years as teams came in and just give Mike Smith a chance, and he's gonna hurt you. And Decord's got a similar skill set to be able to do that. Brownie, finally checking in, buddy. Did you catch Struddy's World there? What do you think?
I did catch him. He's 100% right. And part of the problem, Struddy, with the Oilers and dump-ins is most teams, and I'll get it into my Brownie points, lines know how lines play. So if I was on the third line in Pittsburgh, I knew when my centerman was carrying the puck up, he was going to dump it into my corner, soft dump, or he was going to rim it as hard as he could come around, because that was what the identity of our line was. So you knew exactly what was going to happen. So it makes it easier when you're going in on the forecheck, knowing where that dump is going to go. But every time you dump a puck, it's got purpose, because it is actually an offensive play. It's not just getting rid of it just so that you can go make a line change. You're trying to make a play out of it. You're trying to turn it into a 50-50 play somewhere in a corner where the defenseman's face is facing the board. So I 100% agree with everything you just said on that Struddy's World, as usual.
Brings me back. Yeah. You guys are we're going to see if you guys are always on the same page tonight, because Struds and I got into one, Brownie, before you were on the show, and we are diametrically opposed in some opinion here, and you're coming in to break the tie. So looking forward to that. That your Struddy's World, though, takes me a little bit back to junior Struds, because and I barely played, but the two things that you would absolutely get ripped for the hardest by Shaq, Ed Dempsey, our coach, if you didn't get it out on the wall in your own end, and heaven forbid if you dumped the puck in and their goalie was able to get it, it was like peeling paint. You knew going back to the bench you were just going to get murdered. So that's one of those things, Struddy, that can drive coaches bananas. Never mind the other guys on the ice.
Yeah, and that's the guy that controls the door. So you want to make sure you don't piss him off.
Which I apparently did all the time. All right, that was Struddy's World, brought to you by the Body Realty Group. All right, let's get to Brownie points. We had to wait a little while to get him into the show tonight, but we are so glad to have him. It is time for Brownie points. Brownie points is brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. Love this funky animation we got going on, pulling the best out of Brownie's brain. 2025 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Visit your Alberta Ram dealer to get into this award-winning truck at a competitive price. Capable, stylish, powerful. 'Tis Ram. Brownie, bring some points.
Well, we're going to take some away tonight. We're going to take some away from the Oilers' defensive pairing of Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. We're going to take 3 away from them tonight. This pairing, which is the Oilers' best, it is their best defenseman and their best all-around defenseman paired together. We've seen what they have done since Ekholm has been traded over to the Oilers from the Predators. But so far this year, this pairing has been on for 9 goals against and 0 goals for. That's your best pairing that's usually playing with Connor and Leon. They've been on for 0 5-on-5 goals for this year. 2 huge mistakes by Evan Bouchard tonight. One created a breakaway, one created a 2-on-1. Both the Everly goals. No team can overcome their best defensive pairing being -9 to start the season. And in this game tonight, Bouchard -3 and Ekholm -2. I got -55 Brownie points. The Oilers 5-on-5 play tonight, and more or less this year. The other special teams have been good. Their power play and penalty killing has been good to start this year. And I know that the Oilers change their lines as quickly as Struts changes his Calvin Klein undies. But at some point, Chris Knobloch has got to find some identity for these lines, because the line combinations change so quickly. that I don't know if any player knows what their identity is yet. In 5-on-5, this team is not good enough for the type of talent they have. And if you're relying on referees to give you power plays, keep yourself in hockey games, you're going to find yourself having a 500 record as this season moves on. Having said all of that, I got 50 Brownie points to the Oilers' power play. It is the one piece of the Oilers team that has found its rhythm as of late. They have 50% in their last 10 opportunities, going 5 of 10. Every time they step on the ice, they are either scoring or changing the momentum of the hockey game. The power play has been incredibly dangerous. If their 5-on-5 play gets better, it will create more power play opportunities. I've got 16.5 Brownie points to the Oilers' newest winger, Jack Roslovic, who had his most noticeable game as an Edmonton Oiler today. The coach noticed that as well, as he played 16.5 minutes in this one. The next step for Roslovic is to find the back of the net, because when you play with 97 and 29, there is pressure on not only for you to create, but also, and more importantly, there's pressure on you to finish. And the last one, I got 25 Brownie points to Darnell Nurse for doing something that we need to see more out of the Edmonton Oilers forward. Darnell Nurse went to the net. He went to the net when there was a shot coming from the point, and the Oilers are 2 perimeters so far this year. Joey Decord is a great goaltender, and when most of his shots are coming from the perimeter, he will stop them. The goal that went in on him from Nurse was a deflection because he went to the front of the net. The Oilers need more of that out of their forward players. Fight around the blue paint. You'll find some puck luck if you do. And those tonight are my Brownie points.
All right. Some great stuff in there, as always. Some Brownie points brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. Before we get to Ask Us Anything, Brownie, Struds and I, right off the top of the show tonight, got into it with a real good discussion, but fundamentally a difference of opinion. I believe that after Bouchard made a similar mistake for the second time and ended up in the back of his net, I think that should have been the end of his night. I think that we've seen enough of it this season, the same mistake multiple times, careless mistakes coming from the same place, that 9 minutes of benching and a game tomorrow night to get right back on the horse was the perfect opportunity for this head coach to say enough is enough on the big mistake and do something that hasn't been done before. I think it was a missed opportunity, and Struds respectfully disagreed that was the right way to handle him tonight. What do you say, Brownie?
I got to be honest. I would have benched them. I would have, simply because it's been a reoccurring theme this year. Evan Bouchard has not been anywhere near as good as he's capable of being, and we know what his feeling is because we see it in the playoffs the last 2 years. Now, nobody is as good in the regular season as they are in the playoffs. I mean, of the great players, they step it up, and you want them to step it up. But the plays that he made tonight, the first one, the pinching, the 2-on-1. Ike Howard had that guy. Ike Howard was going to pinch that guy off and maybe create a turnover. Evan Bouchard, you're taught pee-wee hockey. You do not pinch if you don't have a high man. That's a 2-on-1. And then the other one, the breakaway to Eberle. Eberle blew the zone. Bouchard knew that. It's a 1-goal game. You know what? You leave the zone. You go back with Eberle, and you know what? If Eberle gets the puck, it's a 1-on-1, but at least you're not giving up the breakaway. There's been too many high-risk, little reward type plays by Bouchard. And, yeah, I would have benched him. I honestly would have. I understand Struds is probably saying your best chance of coming back in the game is with Bouchard on the ice because of what he can bring offensively. But at some point, enough is enough. And I have no problem with if Chris Knobloch would have set Evan Bouchard down. He has not been anywhere near as good as he needs to be. And that would have been a good opportunity. I agree with you, Schauger.
So the counter I had to Schauger's, thoughts were that of the top 4 guys, I think Wallman, although a very small sample size, played pretty well. Ekholm and Nurse haven't either been as good as they can be. Maybe they haven't been as guilty of some of the big mistakes, but you're going to sit down Bouchard and leave those 2 guys continue to go out there when they're also making mistakes and not playing it to their level. So If 5 guys are rolling and 1 was struggling, okay, I could see that. But right now, I've suggested this group of 6 is performing well below the expectations they have set for themselves starting on game 1, Brownie.
You know, and that's a good point. And it's funny, on Ched tonight, I said that Nugent Hopkins, Pitcolden, and I struggled to find another player that was playing to his potential on a consistent basis this year. I think everyone is underperforming. The difference between Nurse and Ekholm as opposed to Bouchard, Bouchards are so glaring. So glaring. Big mistake at big moments. Last game against Montreal, big mistake pitching when he shouldn't have. It's happening over and over again. It's, you know, if it happens once or twice every once in a while, you know what? He's an offensive player. He's trying to make an offensive play. But when the gamesmanship, and I think I've done it 2 times already this year with Bouchard and Brownie Point, his gamesmanship has not been good. Understanding where you are in the game, what the score is, who's on the ice. Like, his pinches tonight were with the other team's best line out there. It was Beniers and Everly. You've got to realize who you're playing against. That would be like Adam Larson pinching twice in a game when Connor and Leon are on the ice. You just can't do it. So, for me, I understand what you're saying, Strud, and I don't think Nurse has been anywhere near as good as he can, and neither is Ekholm, but their mistakes are not as glaring. And I think Evan Bouchard is a guy that needs a reset because this team is top-heavy. They win because their best players are better than the opposition. And right now, Evan Bouchard is so far below his ceiling that a sit-down may be what he needs just to realize that getting to play on the power play, getting to play in the last 7 minutes is not an expectant. It is a luxury. It is something earned. And I don't know if his play has earned those opportunities so far this year.
Ro Nelson says Brownie and Schauger were both forwards. Struddy holds the line defending defensemen. Good for you, Struddy. Don't trust a forward. Ro Nelson knows. I don't think that's what this is rooted in, though. I don't believe this is about forwards or defensemen or whatever. It's about handling players. It's about, because bottom line, you know, you need to get better results from this player. And maybe Chris Knobloch feels like he won't react well. I mean, maybe he's worried about what their reaction will be. That if you bench a player, what if it goes the wrong way, right? What if his sense is that his confidence will go the wrong way and then you've lost him for even a little bit longer? So coach has got to factor all this stuff in, Struds, and there's a lot of things that we don't know. Maybe they've been talking behind the scenes. Maybe there's been some give and take. Maybe there's been some improvement in an area that they were focusing on. And like, there's so much that we don't know here. We're just watching the surface level of it. And some of that stuff has to factor into.
There's different stages. There's a conversation, you know, casually as you're walking towards the bus. Hey, man, let's get it going, right? We need you. Then there's a conversation maybe on the ice and you're pointing some areas where it has to get better. Then there's conversation where you have the video. And the video, you know, you get to the video stage, you know that you're in pretty big trouble, right? You're not playing that well. Then there's the one where he's calling you out on the bench or in the dressing room. And that's, you know, now it gets it can be embarrassing to hear, you know, your coach giving it to you in front of those people, although I don't feel like Chris really does that. But those are kind of the stages. So I believe they've been through many of those, if not all of them so far, guys, with Bouchard.
You're right.
Yeah.
But it's at the point right now that you can't let it continue. And every time the first couple games, you're like, oh, he's going to be better because we've seen. And then it's like 6 games, and don't worry about it. Just getting the rust out. But now we're 9 games in, and in all honesty, they lost this game because of big mistakes. The Oilers 5-on-5 had struggled to score, but they were the better team 5-on-5, carrying the play. All of Seattle's opportunities tonight in this game were created by big mistakes by the Oilers. Seattle must have had 6 or 7 odd man breaks. They didn't have to create anything themselves. And Bouchard was the biggest culprit in all of that. So to me, and I know what you're talking about, Schauger, with Knobloch trying to understand his player. How hard can I be on? But Evan Bouchard is a $10.5 million player that they are building around. Like, he is the defenseman they're building around. If benching him for 9 minutes, you lose him, well, then you may have bet on the wrong horse when you gave him $42 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't mean lose him long term. I just mean this funk that he's in, it goes the wrong way and he goes a little deeper before he pulls his way out of it, right? Like, they need him to react positively here. I wonder how he would respond. My thought would be, you send that message for that 9 minutes, and then he doesn't have to sit on it for 4 days. He probably won't even have to do media. Like, maybe they ask for him post game, but like, I don't think there's any media traveling with the Oilers, right? They've got Tony and Paige there, and they do a great job. But I mean, it's the easiest 9 minutes to bench him of the season. They're right back at it tomorrow night again. And my thought would be, that'll send a message. It'll be crystal clear. And then he gets to go and earn it back right away. So listen, I think that Chris Knobloch last season, he showed a lot of cojones when he rolled over Leon Draisaitl for 3 shifts without putting him out on the ice. You guys remember that? Because Leon was taking penalties 100%. That were hurting the team, and it made sense to every player on that bench. Every player on that bench went, ooh, okay, this guy's serious, right? And Leon understood. Every guy on that team, Brownie, would understand exactly what was going on and why if he'd have made that call tonight. And quite frankly, a lot of them probably would have. It would have been like a rocket through that bench, seeing that happen to that guy.
Well, I agree, and it happens to other players. Again, accountability has to be from top to bottom, because you lose your team if you don't hold everyone to the same standard. If this guy doesn't have to back check because he scores 30 goals, well, and this guy over here misses a check and he gets benched, well, I just watched that guy do it 4 times earlier. So there has to be accountability. Now, it's not every time someone makes a mistake, you bench them, because mistakes happen all the time. It's when it's the same mistake, and it's a mistake that's a big one, and it's hurting the team. The mistakes that Bouchard made tonight cost them 2 goals, and could have cost them more. I mean, there was a bunch of big mistakes. And it's a 9-minute benching, as you said, is not a lot. So to me, I would have sat him down. I was surprised that he kept coming out there, because his play did not dictate that he should continue playing in this hockey game. And it's been 9 games. He has not played well in 9 games. He was -3 in the game. And it was not a good game for Evan Bouchard. So benching him would have been, to me, the easiest solution, and then see how he responds. See how he responds tomorrow. You would hope the response would be a very positive one, because you got your hand slapped. So to me, this is it, Struggle. This is it. This is the night that I agreed with you. After two and a bit years, you and I are finally on the same page.
Goodness, mark down the time and date, hey Struds, like the one time in any of the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, and you got listen. I get it. You guys, you're out to have someone, to get Bouchard. I'll compromise. I'll compromise.
We're out to get him.
Sit the pairing. Sit them both. Sit both of them. Roll over and say, hey, we're gonna go with 2 pairings for the next 6-7 minutes. Let them know that as a group, it's not good enough.
But I disagree, though. Echo might not be as good. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
He's not doing that.
I don't know if you guys noticed. Did you guys notice this, though? So at the end, which I found really weird, the Oilers are trying to come back. There's 2.5 minutes to go. It was Bouchard and Wallman, and then they went to Kulak and Emerson, and then they went back to Bouchard and Wallman. They actually sat Ekholm and Nurse. They missed the shift where they came out with Kulak and Emerson. I was shocked, floored that they came out with those two with 3 minutes to go in a hockey game. They were trailing by a goal.
All right, lots of great discussion. Now it's time for us to hear what the folks on the stream have to say. Let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. If your mortgage renewal is coming up, don't just sign the first thing your bank puts in front of you. With the right strategy, you can save thousands and make sure your money works harder for you, not for the bank. Get smarter options, get expert advice, get it at mortgagesbymaria.ca. All right, Steve, lots going on. Let's wrap up the poll at the end of the segment.
Okay.
Let's keep the Oiler conversation rocking and rolling here. What are the people saying?
Oh boy, what aren't the people saying? So, yeah, lots of interesting stuff going on the stream tonight, and obviously lots of talk about Bouchard, lots of talk about Ekholm as well. There was a lot of conversation about sticks and lanes. And breaking up passes. And oh shoot, sorry, let me resize this comment here from Shane Matheson. But what he says is that my bad. He says, I'm pretty sure that at a young age I was taught that no matter what, the goalie takes the shooter and the D-man does not allow the pass across. It makes no sense. What do you think about the D-men not getting their sticks in the lanes enough, Struddy, on those passes across?
On the 2-on-1s? Yeah, I mean, you look at the first one, actually, I thought he passed it pretty early, which is a good move. Didn't give kind of, Ekholm a chance to kind of do what he wants. I played for a goalie, Henrik Lundqvist, and what he said is that if it was a 2-on-1, go right at the guy at the puck. Either the guy's going to make a bad pass or I get a breakaway. But both of those things are better than a backdoor tap-in. And so that's how we played it, right? And now other coaches want you to lay down. But I thought that it was the pass was over pretty quick. Didn't really give. I don't think Ekholm was expecting the pass being that early off the rush.
On those ones, Strud, and as a forward, the one thing I hated was a defenseman laying down, because now you forced me. I have to shoot. As soon as you lay down, it takes away my pass away. If I'm the forward and a defenseman stands up, I will beat you every single time with my pass. You will never stop my pass coming across. And like we saw that tonight, how many times, if you stand up, I don't care how good your stick is, I don't care how good your feet are, I'm going to beat you, because there's too many places I could put the puck. You, as a defenseman, you're hoping that you push the guy far enough out and you just delay long enough that someone can come back and help you. But people saying that you got to stop the pass going across, players in the National Hockey League, if they got time and space, and every time tonight the Seattle Kraken did, with time and space, the defenseman's never going to stop the puck because the players are just too skilled.
Okay, Calvin Best comes in and says, ask us anything. Do you think Hyman back on the ice fixes this frustrating play? And I guess a better question is, how much of Hyman's return will fix this frustrating play? What do you think, Brownie?
Well, Hyman's going to make them better. He's an elite hockey player that scored 50-some goals a couple of years ago. He'll help the power play, though it doesn't need a lot of help. He'll bring tenacity to the game. He plays in the hard areas. Maybe that's contagious. But the mistakes that are happening during the Oilers games aren't things that Zach Hyman's going to fix. Turning the puck over, not going to the hard areas, not picking up your man defensively. Those aren't things that he's going to fix. But what he will fix, Strud, is when Hyman comes back, he slots in on the first line. That moves everyone else to a line that they're probably more comfortable with or can have better success with.
Yeah, I think quickly it'll just make them the lines a little bit more continuity through the lines, because they'll see Connor and Hyman together, and that gives everybody a more opportunity to be in a normal spot, more regular.
I also think Hyman's one of those guys too. When things are stressful, he's a guy that can take part of the load. He's a guy that can kind of try and settle things down. He's a good presence in there when there's adversity.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit here, and some praise on the stream tonight for Eberle. Todd Peterson simply says, huge respect for Ebbs. Struddy, you played with Eberle. Like, what do you think about just, the longevity of his career, how he's doing, and what he did out there tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he looks so dangerous tonight, and obviously he scored 2 goals, almost 3. That's a pretty easy comment to make, but just classic Eberle. Gets the pucks on his stick, look for some little open ice, and then makes a goalie pay. Right? That's what Eberle really does well. Skates, a little bit of movement. So yeah, he's a great guy. Still been in touch with him every now and then. And for him to have evolved into a captain, that's pretty impressive.
Brownie?
Yeah, I agree. He was very good tonight. The thing is, he's a pure goal scorer. And as a pure goal scorer, you can't give him time and space. And he had all the time in the world on his breakaway and on his penalty, or on his 2-on-1. Eberle's going to burn you on those, and he did.
All right, Get Wrecked comes in and says that he doesn't like Knobloch because he doesn't hold his players accountable. He thinks, do you think he will raise his voice in the locker room? He says, yeah, no. That comes from Get Wrecked. And I know, Struddy, we were saying before in a prior episode that you appreciate how Knobloch is a more of a quiet leader so that he can raise his voice when he needs to, and it'll have more effect. Do you think that's coming on anytime soon? What do you think's happening in the locker room from Knobloch?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to not like a coach, or I can understand why you won't like a coach that's taking your team twice to the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, I get that. I get why that'd be a frustrating thing. And it's true. I don't. If you're always yelling at me, after a while, that voice is gone. You don't get it. There are times to get a little bit more frustrated. But tonight it wasn't like they played a terrible game, right? I do think luck contributes a bit to this. I don't think there's much luck for the Oilers right now, and I do believe you create your own luck when you're out there and goals going in. I highlighted Tomaszek's and what's his nuts there. What's the right guy that just came? Roslovic. Yeah, those two guys both had goals tonight. They weren't able to score. I'm not blaming the loss on them, but I mean, is another universe, maybe those goes in there for them, right? So I think luck does play a part of it, but your game 9, are you going to come unhinged on game 9 on a team that's gone twice now to the Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years? I think that's wildly premature.
Yeah, I would agree that he's not all of a sudden just going to turn into something that he's not. But I do believe there is a risk when you have the demeanor that Chris Knobloch has, right? You're pretty chill. Don't necessarily take guys to task a lot. Pretty calm and cooled for the most part. That's all good. But you got to have teeth to be an NHL coach. You got to be willing to lean in and do difficult things and make difficult calls. So if you're going to be the low-key guy behind the bench and keep your players' trust and all that, that's good. But they need to know you carry a big stick and you're not afraid to swing it. Because if you're not yelling and making it clear, then you got to do other things. And I think we're getting into that territory where it's time for Knobloch with an underachieving group to start swinging that stick a little here and there.
I completely disagree, Shogger. Just because you're chill doesn't mean you're weak, right? That's those two things aren't the same things.
I'm not saying that it is Struds, but what I'm saying is you can't be a combination of chill and not hold guys accountable. You can't be those two things.
Right. But you think that the only way you can hold a player accountable is by benching them. That's the only way you think it can happen. It could be having conversations. Yeah, you can be having conversations behind closed doors. There's a lot of different ways to make it happen, right? It's not just so. I completely disagree with that idea. I don't agree with it. Just because you're chill doesn't mean that you're not having confrontations with players that are private, right? I mean, we remember Dallas Aikens. I was there for a morning skate the night after that. Taylor Hall hit the water bottle with hit it and sprayed it up on Dallas Aikens and got him wet. We're all waiting for the guys to come out. Everyone else came out except for Dallas Aikens and Taylor Hall. Afterwards, Dallas Aikens told us he wasn't mean with Taylor Hall. Well, why are you lying to us? Just say I was mad about it and I was giving it to him. Just be honest and say it. So there's an opportunity for Knobloch to still make it happen and be in that moment and be strong, even though it doesn't look publicly. Because I'll tell you, I've been yelled at by many coaches across many years. And after a while, you just don't listen anymore. But when it's meaningful, when you have a discussion with someone, say, this isn't good enough. This is how it has to be. So I don't know. I don't agree with what you guys are. What it was at Noel Rinsky or whatever is putting out there.
All right, let's two more here. Lauren the Alchemist comes in and said the Oilers' schedule is brutal in November. 10 of 14 games are on the road and 3 back-to-backs on the road. The Oilers need to survive November. What are you expecting, Struddy, based on that schedule and the Oilers' play right now in November? I know it's hard to look ahead.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't looked at every team that they play. I know I looked at the segment they had here was Montreal, the two teams on the West Coast, and it's Utah. And who's the fifth game? There's a fifth game coming up on Thursday, and I can't think of who that was. Is it
the
Detroit?
one coming up here?
Yeah, this Thursday.
They got the Rangers on Thursday.
Rangers.
Yeah.
So I looked at those as a place they could get quite a few points. So right now they're 1-1. Vancouver, both teams played a back-to-back. Utah is playing really well and scoring a ton of goals with two really offensive lines. Then the Rangers right now, they're playing good defense, but they can't score enough. So I looked at these fives and up to they should be 3-2. They got to get 6 out of 10 points. Probably want more, but if you got 6 out of 10, I can live with it. So I can't really answer because I haven't looked at November.
All right, let's end with a fun one here. Kayla is wondering, ask us anything. Would you attempt the 9-9-9 challenge? That's the 9 beers, the 9 hot dogs in 9 innings of a baseball game.
What do you get if you do it? What's the reward? What do I get?
The respect from the entire stream and drunken.
Yeah. No chance. I wouldn't be able to do it.
You don't think
I'd maybe
so?
do
No
3
chance,
3
Lawrence.
and 3 or something like that. 3 beers, 3 hot dogs, and 9. Maybe it's 3-3-9.
What if I waved a check in front of your face? Any chances you'd pull it off and
Well,
have
I'd
any
miss-
success?
I would have missed what happened in the last Blue Jay game, right? Like that's
Yeah.
you don't want to miss that kind of dramatics outcome.
Cool.
Fair enough.
For trying some ridiculous trend, some
In a
trend
wheelchair.
that makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Maria Gallus. Kayla Weathorn with a nice comment here. That's part of being a good coach, is knowing how to handle different players' mentalities. Some respond well to discipline, others not so much. That's for the coach to figure out and balance. I guarantee you Knobloch is a guy that thinks through that. And maybe in his estimation, it just wouldn't be a good move and wouldn't work the way some might think it would. And as you said, 2 Stanley Cup finals. He's obviously got the group dialed in to a degree. We'll see. We'll see what number 2 gives them tomorrow night. But honestly, great debate, great discussion. Respectfully done tonight, guys. I love it. Let's get to our play of the day to wrap things up. Brought to you by Mainline Water and Sewer, your trusted choice for over 40 years, specializing in sewer line replacement and expert water line repair and replacement. Slow drains are a sign it's time for attention, and aging lines can cause basement backups. Their trenchless method is quick, low impact, and often finished in a day. Complete with backflow protection. Visit mainlinewaterandsewer.ca. I have to tell you, Struds, did a little plumbing today. Little handyman Schauger came out. It started with the kitchen sink. The whole thing kind of moving a little bit too much when you turn the nozzle. So I went underneath to fix that. Accidentally broke something else. But then I was able to fix it all. Completely rebuilt all of the plumbing and everything. My neighbor Grant only had to come over once. And the sink is working and operational as we speak. So I'm motivated by Mainline Water and Sewer to bring out my inner handyman today, Struddy. It worked.
So you fixed something that wasn't broken. Is that what you're saying?
No, I fixed something that was broken, but in the process broke something else and then fixed that with the help of my neighbor Grant. I'm taking that as a win. That's a win for me, Brownie.
Yeah, I don't fix anything because it doesn't work out well for me. So I'm very good at calling friends to come over, fix it for me, and then I will give them beer afterwards.
Love it. What do we got for a play of the day tonight, Streds?
We'll go back to Washington. Pretty incredible. This guy, the old, what's he called? The Russian machine. Alex Ovechkin, 1,500 games today. They celebrated him. They put all the guys wore T-shirts with a picture of him from a rap video he did like 20 years ago. But amazing. This guy, 1,500 NHL games, closing in on 900 goals. What a career he's had. Just amazing, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty incredible stuff. 2 honorable mentions for play of the day. I thought the broadcast did a nice job of catching Vasily Podkolzin having a word with Brandon Montour.
Yeah.
Some really emotional stuff today that Montour had gone through. So nice moment there. And then how about the moment at the baseball game, guys? Everybody holding their signs for who they're fighting for the cancer fighter in their lives. That was pretty incredible little interlude in the game today, Brownie.
100%. I've been where Podkolzin and Montour have been. I've been on the ice where players have come and talked to me. and I know how much that means. So I thought it was almost brought a tear to my eye when I saw the Coles in him once we were talking on the ice.
Yeah. And that ball game was something, eh, Struds? Like in the middle of the ball game, to be doing that.
I guess they do it all, like every World Series. I've never seen it before, so
Yeah.
it was moving. My wife and I were tearing up. It was a great moment just to stop a game. It just dead stop. It was. I've never seen like anything like that in professional sports mid game.
All right. This was a poppin' show tonight. The live stream was on fire. The debate was lively. That was awesome. Let's do it all again tomorrow night. Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks will have a post-game pod. Thanks, guys. Great job tonight, Steve. Awesome job at the controls, my friend. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And thanks to all of you for joining us. This has been Got Your Back, a presentation of Timberhouse Developments. We'll leave you with a little retro Got Your Back theme music as we say goodnight.